This is Golden Greg Williams of Shattered Empire. If you want to rock, you gotta talk. And you're watching the Dave Darin Show live on Facebook. Do you know the Dave Darin Show?
Not enough to boil a monkey's bum.
Most people say, who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Like Disneyland, I'm the happiest fucking guy on earth.
Who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Are you a poofda?
He used to be on terrestrial radio, but he got fired.
It's over. Don't you think it's over?
Aspen.
Who the fuck is Dave Darin?
Here comes the bull spiller now.
Dave Darin.
Welcome to the Dave Darin Show. I've got the very cool band. I'm going to tell you about the name of the band. I got Greg Williams here.
And BB Bones.
And BB Bones.
BB here.
How'd you get the name Bones? How many women do you bone on a particular night?
Yeah, I wish that's the way I got that name. A long time ago, I used to be in a death metal band. Of course, that's where my influences come from at the beginning. And his dad was always saying to me, "Oh man, that guy's like BB King, but he's BB Bones." And I was like, all right, works for me.
Stuck with you. Okay, very cool. So the name of the band is Shattered Empire, right?
Correct.
It's easy for me to remember that name, and I'll tell you why. My wife sold her car, and now she wants to buy another car, and of course I'm interfering with that. She wants the cool, classy vehicle. I want the muscle car. So now I've got shattered balls from her kicking me in the balls all the time. And now my empire used to be the 3,200 square foot house. Now it's the fucking doghouse. So my whole empire is shattered. So it's easy to remember the name of the band.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. Oh yeah, because a lot of people have problems and their empires just shattered.
That's
well,
right.
Hey, it's worse than the muscle car. I can tell you that much. You don't want to be driving around in a yellow Prius or some shit.
Right. No, I can't deal with that shit. She doesn't want. Thank God she doesn't want that shit. She's got some class, except for when she's giving me a lot of oral sex, and there's a lack of class there, right? But that's what we want. That's what we want.
It depends.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm down with that kind of class.
Yeah, and then we haven't even gotten into the anal discussion yet, so that's where class really goes out the window. But tell me about the band, man. What's going on with the music? You got some new music coming out, right?
Yeah, we got a new album coming out here, and it's released. We just released it Sunday.
Right. Okay.
August 12th, and now we're trying to promote our album before we get out on the road.
By the way, before we get into it, tell me the names of the guys in the band, because and the instruments you play. I mean, we've been introduced to you guys, but no one knows the instruments you play except for Bone, because he's playing with his bone all the time. But beyond that, who do we got?
Okay, so I'm the lead vocalist, Mr. BB Bones on guitar, and we have Mr. Bobby Blass on drums, and Mark Fuzz on bass guitar.
Very cool. Now, how long have you guys...
We have a second guitar player, but it didn't work out. So
it didn't work out.
With a four-piece like we had before. That gets me into that discussion. These guitar players, man, they're big vaginas. That's what they are. You play one lick that's like way out of their league. They're saying, what the hell was that? I can't hang with this guy.
At least you got your words correct. You were talking about lick and their vaginas within the same sentence. So that's appropriate. I like the way you're going with this conversation.
You hear that? You see that how they're like, they're vaginas, but they're sloppy vaginas because they can't play guitar right. They're all sloppy.
So now, Greg, I know you've been out there. You've been awarded as well. Like you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, I think. Am I right about that?
Correct. Yeah, and he got inducted in 2018 now. So
nice.
That's pretty good. And the rest of the group.
Fans in Las Vegas, are they as supportive as they used to be years ago? Because I used to play in the 70s and the 80s. And I've noticed a little bit of a lack of appreciation from the fans. And we got to bring that back. I don't want to make this show about a negative situation, but we got to bring the fans back to the music because they're too busy watching Netflix, They're busy watching all kinds of other shit, and they're not really involved in the music. We got to draw them out. How do we do that?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct there.
Okay.
I mean,
you're not going to answer me yet? Let's play a piece of music, then answer me. I'm going to let you think about it during the music.
almost want to. There's a lot more to that question. So
That's right. And we're going to get back to it after this commercial break, which is going to be your music, because we want to make it commercially available. So what are we going to start off with? What should we start off with, guys?
We'd like you to play one of our new tunes. It's one of our latest songs. It's called Streets of Hollywood.
Okay.
And it's all the Hollywood scene. There's a whole story behind it.
Cool. Keep that story in mind, and we're going to come back in a second. Here we go, guys. Welcome back to the show. I was talking about fans. I was talking about fans coming to your gigs, not asking for free door admission or no cover to come in. I want them to buy merchandise. I want them to go to if you're selling your music on iTunes or it's available, it's your gigs. I want them to buy that. How do we motivate today's fans to really think about what they need to do to support the great music that's out there? You guys got great music. I want them to support you. What can we do to try to help that out a little bit?
Well, go ahead. I want to give my 2 cents on this. We get rid of all the media. We get rid of it. And then they have to go to the shows to see the band. We have to get out there like us. I mean, bands, we could sit right here, write songs all day long, put it on the internet, put it on YouTube, tell everybody to do something and just Facebook it out. But nobody goes to the shows anymore. You aren't going to see a flyer on a car. You're going to go somewhere, you won't see one. But before you had to do it, it was a hustle. You'd have to get out there. You had to go flyer all the bars, all the scenes. Hey, guess what? Bootsride's playing tonight. Okay, let's do it. Rockstar, the movie Rockstar. There you go. That's what it should be like now.
Yep.
But it is no longer that way.
Greg, what do you think? What do you think,
You know
Greg?
why these fans aren't motivated to buy music that they like? I mean, if I hear a band and I like them, of course I'm going to go out and buy the album. I want it. You know, I want that artwork. I want everything. I mean, it makes sense. I don't understand why people don't want to support the artist.
I believe that we don't think about that. What we think about is, I've done it myself. I'm guilty of it. I heard bits and pieces of a song. I'm like, well, let me go to YouTube and see if it's on there. And there it is, the whole album. So there it is on iTunes. Why the heck am I going to go and pay the money to get this thing? But there's very few people that say, I want the CD, I want this, the artwork, I want on and on and on. It's right there in their face, you know.
The technology's right there in your face. Now, playing your music, how many vaginas do you guys get into your face? Greg, we'll start with you first.
Oh, me? Not much.
Shit. I tell you that much.
Come on, man. I can see. I
Probably
can.
the whole front row and the rest of the building. I'll take the second row.
Would you say your music's very sexual? Do you connect to your audience in a sexual way?
I wouldn't say that about every song, but some of them.
Okay.
There's a song you don't have there called "Town to Town." It's
For sure.
It's about that.
And
Funny, that up.
can we get that one for the show at some point? Where are we going to be able to air that? I don't have it. Okay.
Sure, we can get that.
Okay, I'm going to play that. And by the way, I'm going to take that track and I'm going to slip it into the bedroom in hopes that my wife just had her birthday yesterday. So I'm due to get sex from her because when it's her birthday, we promise each other 3 weeks worth of sex every single night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip that CD in while I'm slipping my penis into my wife. Okay, so there you go.
Sounds great.
Sounds good. I'll put a little bit of that footage, that video footage, on this interview. Okay.
Okay.
So in the meantime, what can we play by you guys? We're going to play a second piece of music from you guys. Tell us about it and tell us what we're going to play.
This next one is the title track of our album. It's called Rise of the Empire. Now, Rise of the Empire, this song is more about, I'd say more about politicians and what's going on in the world today. Actually, it was more about what was going on before Trump came in office, but it pretty much like sets in what's going on with politicians and corruption.
Shattered dreams, you gagging in your bow.
this album that you've got out now, is it very different than your previous works? And I know the answer to that question, but I want to ask you guys now for our listening audience and our viewing audience. Is your music, are you intentionally making your music different from CD to CD, or are you trying to be consistent with what you think is working, or are you very experimental?
We're the type of guys, we really don't follow trends. We really don't care what's popular, what people are doing today. We just do what we feel and in our heart and soul, what makes us happy, and we hope that it makes our fans happy. Of course, you want to keep your fans happy all the time, but we try to give a variety of heavy metal and rock type music so that we can keep the people interested. And you know, a lot of people from the 80s, they want to hear a certain type of music, so we try to mix in a variety of different types of stuff. So it's almost like you're listening to Van Halen, Judas Priest, and you know, and mix it up a little bit. But really, we're writing from our heart, and we're doing what we're feeling. We're not really following any type of trend, and you know, like what everybody else is doing today. We're not that type of band. We don't do that.
If you had to pick, both of you guys, if you had to pick a favorite song from your most recent release, do you guys pick the same song? And if you don't, what's the differences and why? So, Greg, what's your favorite piece of music off your current release?
Off of this new release?
Yeah, what's your favorite? I'm curious.
My favorites, well, there's a lot of good ones. But one of my favorites, only because I relate to it a lot, is Streets of Hollywood, because growing up in California and seeing everything around me, the lyrics and everything, I relate to it like it's part of my life. Like, basically, that's how it was written. That's how a lot of songs are written. I write about what I feel or what I see or what kind of experience I have in life.
I gotta agree with him. That Street to Hollywood, it's like it's the baby of the band. That right there was one of the newest song that we've ever written. The newest one.
What are you going to do now? Streets of Hollywood becomes one of your fan favorites, and you've got to play that consistently every single show. Your fans are going to desire that to be played. It's your anthem. How are you going to keep that fresh? Are you going to keep it as authentic it is off of the music that you recorded? Or to keep it fresh for you, are you going to vary it and experiment? What are you going to do with that #1 hit from your band?
I'm going to play the hell out of it, and when those people are there feeding that energy back to me, I'm going to feed it right back to them.
In the original format of the original sound, or are you going to vary it a bit? Or are you going to try to keep it authentic?
I think we're going to try to keep it authentic, and we try to keep everything authentic when we play live. Mm-hmm. You know, like you'll hear the CD. A lot of bands will go off drifting. No. We try to stay with that format and stay with that, but you might hear a little bit of different sounds here and there, but it's pretty close to what you're listening to on the CD. Right. I like to stay consistent with that, but like he was saying about the energy, if you're playing the same song you've been playing for 30 years and that energy is there, just like Kiss when they're doing rock and roll all night, you got that energy, it builds the energy inside you. So that song isn't still, it stays alive and it stays with you. When you write a song, it stays with you for the rest of your life. You know that, you're a musician as well. So that's the way I feel about music. I don't know, I guess I'm pretty deep into it as far as that goes.
Sure.
We'll add on to that is that I love the solo, The Streets of Hollywood. I mean, I enjoy playing it. I think it's amazing. It's super fun to me. I think it's great.
And we love you.
The verse riff to Rise of the Empire is an amazing riff. When I first wrote that, I felt every time I could listen to it to this day, I turn on the radio and I just jam out to it. I drive through my car and just hearing that.
What should we play next? Another piece of music. This is the third piece we're going to play here. What should it be?
I guess go ahead and play Angels.
Okay.
The song's called Angels. I don't know if you actually got to review it very good, but there's a story about that song. I mean, a lot of people they hear the music and they say, "Oh, that's heavy. I like it." They're not quite getting the message what I'm sending out, and it's a whole different thing. What I'm doing is I'm turning around and I'm sending the complete opposite message than what other bands are doing. I'll turn around and write about how to do the right thing and write about God. They're writing about Satan. I'm writing about that. I don't quite say anything about that, but it turns out that that's what I'm doing. And then the people turn around and go, "Oh, that's awesome. That kicks ass. That's metal." Well, you're not quite hearing the message. I mean, we're not like Striper where you totally hear the message. That's I kind of twisted on the fans, and some of them don't even get it.
I think it's an amazing song. I'm super happy with the solo, with the riffs.
We're going to play Angel right now, and you guys have mentioned solo quite a bit, so I imagine instead of getting a drink, you're going to go over to your computer, pop up some porn, do some solo work in front of the computer, and then you'll come back and we'll finish up the interview, right?
They call me VP Boner. I mean, bonus.
Hey, I don't want to be around if it's being him. I mean, we're the girls, man.
That's right.
You better send them our way, Dave.
I'll do that. I'll give you the Dave Darin credit card, all right?
You're asking about how many girls at the show, who gets the most girls, or what's going on. Why are you asking that type of question?
Hey, we're interviewing you now.
What's going in your mind there, buddy?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Let's play the music. You guys take a little break. I'm going to play the music. Here we go.
As the darkness fills the sky, I sit and wonder why we must live and we must die. As the weather turns in my mind,
Welcome back to the Dave Darin Show. Shattered Empire is with us here right now. By the way, I'm curious about this. When your music is like the last track, all the music we played off this CD here, all the music we played, is there any worry that you're going to hit this pinnacle and have written your best piece of music? How are you going to surpass that? Is there ever? I'll tell you, when I used to do terrestrial radio, and like I said, they used to give me CDs of each show. I used to play them back, and I used to write on them like, this is an 8, this is a 7, this is a 5. And if I ever wrote down a 9, I would fucking panic and think, how am I going to get that guest matched with my personality and recreate that? I would always fucking freak myself out with that, to the point that I never played any more CDs anymore of my shows. Do you have any worry about that at all?
Yes, Dave. Yeah, I had that exact same worry. When I write that riff and then I hear the song and I'm like, oh no, oh God, that's my highest point. Done.
I never think that way.
It can't be.
I don't know what's wrong with you folks.
We're musicians. We're the guitar players. That's why.
It can always be better.
True.
It can always be better, and you're always going to see somebody better than you too. No matter how good you are, no matter how professional you are, you're always going to see somebody better, and you can always top everything you do. If you work hard enough, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that's true.
Take a look on his face, like
I believe that. I do believe that.
What's that?
I do believe that because, like I told you, this next 3 weeks of my wife's birthday, we've got to have sex for 3 weeks. So the way I go into it, literally the way I go into it, is every time it's going to be better. And my wife keeps telling me, Dave, it's going in reverse. It's getting worse every fucking time. So that's what am I going to do?
You've been listening to too much falling in reverse.
You got to have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
Sure.
But you do. You have to have faith in music as well. Obviously, when you're on stage, are you mostly innerly focused on the connectivity of you and the other instruments on stage, or are you more of the band that's focused on what's going outside of you on your fan base? What do you focus on when you're on stage? What's in your heads?
Outside of me?
Yeah.
Outside of me is I'm making sure the music's right. That's why sometimes I'm not, unless I'm hammered, I'm completely concentrating on the music. But when I get some shots and some beers in me, then I'm concentrating on, oh man, I'm right there with the audience.
I focus on the music and I try to feel it on stage, but like he said, I like to try to connect with the audience as well. Sometimes you might catch me in a couple songs where I'm in my own world and I'm kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like I'm in a dream.
Sure.
And I'm just feeling that song at the moment, and that's all I'm feeling, and I got lights hitting me, and there's people all over, but I don't even notice that. They're like little ants. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's not a good thing to say about your fans, but yeah, if it's a big show, it's, the more people there are, you can only see so far, and then that's it.
It's an amazing
with those lights in your face. But yeah, it feels great.
Oh yeah, that's
the best high in the world.
But then you forget because you got to your other, say you got your drummer and your bass player over here, and you two, like me and Greg, sometimes we're here and we're in our own world. We're just rocking the freak out. Like, it's amazing, super cool. Everybody's into it. And the drummer and the bass player are looking at us like, what the hell are they doing? Like, we're locked, man. The music, we're feeling this shit.
It's funny you should say that because when I used to play, and I played 7 days a week actually in some parts of my life, but we would be up on stage, we'd be really connecting, and it's like you said, you get in a groove, you get like in a trance. And
exactly.
Sometimes that trance, I'd be so into that trance, I would forget where the fuck I was within the song because I'd be like in this trance of momentum buildup, and I would forget. How do you overcome that? How do you guys overcome that trance and then losing it and then got to pull it back to where you were in the song? How do you do that?
Oh, I've never quite really had that type of problem. No, I'm serious.
It's the drugs from the 70s. The drugs from the 70s.
I'm usually focused on the song. I'd have to be completely wasted to lose my spot there. But no, it has happened at rehearsal a couple times, and you're like, oh wow, I got to catch myself here, I don't know how I do it. I mean, there could be a mistake, and I just pull it. Like, nobody would know there was a mistake, not even the band. Like they're the ones making the mistake, and I just pull it together somehow. I don't know how I do it. Don't I do that?
You absolutely
He
do.
does that too as
But,
well.
yeah, my thing is that sometimes when you're talking about it, you're in that groove, you're in that mode, you're just jamming, just feeling it all of a sudden. But for me, it feels like everything's going great, but then reality hits, and it's like, wait a second, oh, okay, and then you get all stone faced again, and you're trying to catch up where everybody else was.
Yeah.
But that's why you got to have a great rhythm section, and you got to have them. You're behind the beat is like, hey man, he's in his own world, and the people are loving it. Let's just keep on going.
It's almost like you're hypnotized.
Yes.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. It is exactly like that. Do you think that it's important for a band to do a state-to-state across the country tour? Is that something that's important? Is that something you guys want to do? Is just traveling to a lot of states across the entire country? Do you want to do it? Is it feasible to do it?
To me, it's important. To me, I want to do it. It's just something I want to do. I mean, I think it's important to reach out to your fans, especially if you have fans all over the world, which we do. I think that you need, a lot of these people are waiting. They want to see you in person, and they want to see that live performance. So yeah, I kind of think that that's important to get to the other states. And yeah, of course, there's other countries, but sometimes it's hard to get to all these places.
Let's play another piece of music. Then we're going to come back and we're just going to close the show out with you tremendous musicians and guys in the band here. But let's play this is our fourth song. We're playing a lot today. Fourth song.
Yeah.
What can we do?
How many do you want to play? 20? No,
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, let's do a fourth, and then we'll think about the 5th to the 20th eventually. But what should we do fourth?
This next song is called The Helm. So, would you like to explain The Helm? It's kind of a heavy song like Priest. It's kind of like a Priest type song.
Okay.
It's called The Helm, like the captain of the ship, and it's kind of a fantasy type, kind of like a movie type song. But
It definitely rocks, and it will fucking kick your ass.
definitely rocks.
So it's kind of a fantasy. What's your fantasy? Mine is to be with a midget. I've never been with a midget. I'd like to try that.
Fantasies, all right? Come on, Dave.
Okay, what are you saying, Dave?
I said, what's your fantasy? My fantasy is, and I've never had it. I've had short girls, but I've never had a midget. And the reason I say that is because I like that. When you think about a midget, what you've got going on there is someone that should be full size and they're compressed. So when they're compressed, the booty sticks out. Like remember that little doll you used to press? I forget what it was. You press the head and the bottom of it flares out. It's like that. So I'm very interested in being with a midget. What do you guys? What's your fantasies?
Please, you don't want to hear my. Okay, because me and my cousins, we've talked about it. All right, we've talked about this midget sex thing.
Look at this.
And you really, if I explain this to you, you're gonna be like, I never want to see another midget in my life. So do you want to hear this or not?
I'm going to hear it after we play the music. All right, let's play the piece of music.
I used to have a girlfriend that was like 5 foot tall. She was really hot, though.
Oh, but 5 foot's not a midget. That's like a full-size midget, which isn't a midget. Okay, let's play the music and we're going to come back. Here we go.
This is bad, Dave.
Destiny is calling, and you always leave again.
See, now he's a musician and he's not an artist, because if you were an artist, you would think about proportional distances, right? And what you do is you can angle the body a certain way so it looks like that midget's actually full size. You got to think of proportion, man. You're not thinking.
You're sick, Dave. Just man.
So what's your fantasy, Greg? What do you got as a fantasy? You got to have some kind of fantasy, right? You're a musician.
I don't know. I really couldn't answer that question. All I can say is my fantasy is just to play music and be on stage.
What a pussy.
I'm pretty boring.
But now, has that always been your desire? Like you're talking about your fantasy. What has that always been your desire from when you were really young? Were you thinking like 7 years old, you're watching TV, you're watching these great bands, and you're thinking, this is me? Has that always been in your life?
It's funny that you say that, yeah, because when I was a little kid, I would just break out the Beatles albums and spin them, and I'd see them on TV, and that was way before I was too young, but I just, like, listened to that when I was a kid, and I just loved music, and the Beatles was one of my favorite, especially Paul McCartney. So I just, I always had this fantasy about playing music and hearing it.
All right.
Absolutely.
My answer to that is I was growing up and I was born in 81. Sat in front of the TV. I remember just that MTV icon coming up. Bam! And it's just like, Van Halen and all the 80s bands. I was just like, what? This is amazing, David Lee Roth climbing down a mountain on a skyscraper. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like, it Hot for Teacher, all that kind of stuff.
I want my
And
MTV.
Van Halen was the one. Yeah. All those amazing things.
What happens to them? It's supposed to stand for music television, right?
And
I love it. I love music TV. I loved MTV. I really did love my MTV. I really did.
Yeah,
So did I.
Me too.
What happened?
Because that's where I was grown up, and I just look what it makes you. I mean, me and my cousins had a what are those like smaller records, the smaller ones, not the
45s.
Yes,
Yeah.
and my grandparents had it, and she said every time we come home, well, we'd wake up in the morning to go to school, we'd play Billy Idol, White Wedding, all day.
Did you actually have time between playing the Billy Idol in the middle to pull up a National Geographic magazine and masturbate before the next? Did you do that? Did you masturbate to National Geographic?
Yeah, Hustler and Playboy. So.
No, I did it to National Geographic.
I've been told that's what I did.
You could declare innocence because you got the parents. You're a young kid. You got the parents in the house. And you can't have Playboy or Penthouse because you can't. So you pull up the National Geographic magazine with the breast in there because everyone's in Africa with big breasts and they're hanging out. And then your parents come in. You can look like you're being educated by reading National Geographic, right? It was a prop.
Is that a National Geographic? Oh no, I've been there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Turn that fan on and go crazy.
But you used to have like those what are they called? Like fashion magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Girls in there.
The National Geographic. You get to see that one.
The Sears and Roebuck catalog. It was amazing. My parents thought, here's a guy who wants to learn about mechanics because you got the Sears catalog with the tools in there. I forget the names of the tools. What kind of tools do they sell in Sears? What was it called? I forget the name of the tools. But they thought Dave's going to grow up into being a mechanic or he's going to be into geography or history because he's got the National Geographic and the Sears. They had no idea that I was checking out the breast in both the magazines.
The breastises?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got lucky. My mom used to get the Victoria's Secret magazine. So
There you go. That's the one I was looking for.
Yeah.
Victoria's Secret.
She wouldn't let me. Okay, she wouldn't let me look at it. She's like, "Hey, what are you doing with that Victoria's Secret?" I'm looking at bras, Mom. Oh,
Wow.
yeah, right.
So here's a guy right here who not only has a fantasy about midgets, but he also fantasizes about his mom. Excellent.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Dave. Finally, somebody said it.
Hey,
There
my
we
mom
go.
was hot. What can I say?
Oh,
They said it nationwide coverage right here on the Dave Darin Show.
absolutely.
My mom was
We
super
pulled
hot.
his secret out. We'll send this. By the way, I'll I'll send a special version of this to your mom. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. I'll tell you what, let's make sure that we announce how to get your music. How do they do it? Do they go to iTunes? They hook up with you guys for autographed copies of your music? How do they do that?
Okay, if you want a physical copy, actual CD with the artwork and stuff, go to Amazon.com, and for actual, like a lot of people like downloads today, so whatever your preference is, if you're just going for downloads, I would go to iTunes. Those are the two main ones for buying the actual CD.
Okay, how about merchandise? You guys have like T-shirts with your band name on them. You have all that stuff. So when you start playing out there, when you're starting to do this stuff in LA and all that stuff, do you have merch at your merch booth? I'm sure you do, right?
Yeah, we have T-shirts, Shattered Empire shirts with the album cover. We haven't put any of our merch out there yet because we're trying to push the album, but we'll be putting some merch on the Shattered Empire site on our Facebook site.
That's going to be great. That's great. We should look for that. And we should go to your website. Are you going to announce some of your tour dates or your California gigs on your website? Do you have a website? Do you put it on Facebook? Are you a Twitter type of band?
We have a band page right now.
Okay.
We've still been procrastinating on the website. You even have a website, right?
Yeah, shockingly I do. That's right. I spend time when I'm not doing the National Geographic and the Sears catalog, I'm out there coding on my website. So that's the third thing I do.
Well, I need someone to help me. I need someone like you, Dave. I need someone who knows about computers and stuff because I'm not that good at that stuff.
Wow. There you go. Who knows? Maybe Dave Darin will spend some time with you guys doing that. But it's great having you on the show. Any words of wisdom, closing notes from today's show? Anything you want to say to your fans, or what do you want to say? What would be closing words from you guys? Like Jerry Springer says, final thoughts.
My final thought is make sure that, you know what, he knows the details about tomorrow.
Oh, final thoughts is buy the music, support the artist. If you like the artist. If you don't like us, don't buy it. But if you like us, buy the music, support us so we can get to your town and play for you live. If you're on XM radio, Dave, which I really think you should be on there, there's no reason you can't be. You're very intelligent, very great DJ. They're all going to mix you up with Howard Stern. They're going to think you're Howard Stern.
That's it. That's right. See that? I think there's room for two of us on there, right?
There's room for two Howard Sterns.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we could be on. And here's why. Because I know Howard always talks about Robin. So Howard's on one breast, I'm on the other, and we satisfy Robin.
There you go.
There we are, right?
And?
And there would be my National Geographic fantasy as well at the same time.
Exactly. You got the both worlds going on there.
That's exactly right. All right, cool guys. It was great having you on the show. This is Shattered Empire, and I'll tell you what. Can we do we have room for a fifth one? Do you want to promote a fifth one where we run it on the show?
Well, you said you're going to have 6 to town, so
yeah.
Throw town to town at you, and they can say goodbye with that.
Okay.
I've been traveling, messing women all around. No, but this one takes a cake. She goes strutting down the street, looking good enough to eat. Oh, I really need her now. She's got a way some more.